Some of the pilot's encounters with UFOs are so horrifying that they literally send shivers down your spine. From circular discs to bizarre floating orbs, there have been countless sightings of strange, unidentified objects in the skies. Although several of these UFOs have been seen by unsuspecting witnesses on the ground, pilots happen to be the most victims in these unsettling events. Here are 8 times pilots witnessed UFOs in flight. Number 8. Julius Figueroa. It can be quite overwhelming to see something mysteriously pop out of nowhere and head straight for you. The dazzling encounter of a Virginia pilot named Julius Figueroa is one of complete fright. The encounter took place in July 2022 during a fun flight in which the young pilot was taking some skydivers to the skies to pull off their stunts. However, things took a twist of fate when Figueroa spotted something in the skies that had him questioning his sanity. At about 4,000 feet in the air, the pilot gazed into the far distance ahead of him and caught sight of something. It was an odd-looking spherical golden orb moving at a very fast speed. Strangely, the object kept moving forward towards the plane, as if seeking a confrontation. But then, in that moment of fear and intrigue, this pilot noticed something even more spine-chilling. When observed directly, the object seemed invisible. However, from another angle, it was as clear as the stars in the night sky. Figueroa's terror reached its climax when the UFO passed by his plane. It was at that moment he shouted in fear, causing everyone aboard to jerk back to reality and look out the window. They all saw the object, about the same size as a small car, speeding away into the horizon. A few seconds later, it had already disappeared. The most stunning part of this encounter wasn't the size or features of the enchanting object, but the fact that the ground team denied picking any such thing on the radar. In fact, you can say it was like seeing a ghost in the sky. Number 7. Arizona UFO. 2 Learjet pilots in Arizona nearly wet their pants after they saw something that wasn't of this world in the skies above Arizona. The incident occurred on the afternoon of February 2018, close to the New Mexico border. The pilots cruised at about 40,000 feet when suddenly something flew past them in the skies. Shocked and confused, one pilot asked the controller if anything had been spotted flying past a few seconds ago. The controller replied in the negative, but then the other pilot chipped in, revealing it was a UFO. Not long after this, the air controller dialed back, requesting that the pilots report if they spotted anything flying over them, as something strange had been reported in that area. Shockingly, not long after, the pilot saw a bizarre object fly over his plane in the opposite direction. It was a weird, glowing object shaped like a balloon. Its weird glow was so strong that it gave off a big reflection. The pilot who spotted this object later told news reporters that the object was just too bright, even for a UFO. Thankfully, they made it back in one piece. It would have been a different ball game if a collision happened mid-air. Number 6. Frederick Valentich. On October 21, 1978, something bizarre happened in Australia. A young pilot named Frederick Valentich was taking part in a training flight when he radioed air traffic control, informing them that a strange aircraft was hovering over his head. He also revealed that the aircraft was orbiting him and emitted a green light that seemed to be affecting his plane's engine. Shockingly, air traffic control replied that there were no aircraft in the area. However, while they were still trying to wrap their heads around the situation, Frederick's transmission was cut off and he disappeared off the radar. Months of searching were done by the aviation authorities, but this man was never found. Number 5. Passenger sees UFO. It's always nice to have a nice, comfortable seat right next to an airplane window. However, the whole experience can be ruined by one nasty thing: UFOs. While flying over New York City, passenger Michelle Reyes saw something that made her scream. The young mom was sitting by the window with her daughter and looking over at the mesmerizing landscape below when something bizarre entered her field of view. A small, cylindrical object, unlike any aircraft or drone known to man, zipped across her line of sight. The speed at which this object zoomed past her was so astonishing that she initially thought she was seeing things. Luckily, she had been recording all along, and so, when she played back the video, she knew she wasn't crazy. Michelle Reyes was disturbed, to say the least. Whatever that thing was, it was flying on its own at supersonic speed. Interestingly, Michelle wasn't the only one on the plane who saw this bizarre flying cylinder. Another passenger, also a mom, noticed the object. though she was just as clueless as Michelle as to what it was. From tic-tac to a drone or large insect, many folks have cooked up theories to put this enigma to rest. But then, we can all agree this is another of those things that deserve to be called alien. Number 4. Tic-tac. One of the most famous stories of pilot UFO sightings is the story of the Tic-tac UFO. The harrowing experience was recounted by a Navy pilot named David Fravor and took place in November 2004. Fravor, a Navy pilot, had taken to the skies in his fighter jet when he spotted the object off the coast of Southern California. It was at a lower altitude, but even from a far distance, Fravor could tell that this object was not of this world. The object he saw was white in color, about the size of a U.S. fighter jet, and hovered slowly in the air. The object resembled a tic-tac, so it's since been nicknamed the Tic-tac UFO. David Fravor and his other teammates who were on the plane watched the tic-tac object for about 5 minutes. However, when they approached it to get a closer look, they noticed it began to react to their movements like it was aware they were approaching. And when Fravor decided to speed up, it suddenly zoomed off in another direction at lightning speed. So much so that it seemed to disappear. Fravor explained that the strange object had no wings and no exhaust fumes. It's a mind-boggling mystery how something like that could possess such speed. Speaking to U.S. Congress during an official hearing, David Fravor said, "I think what we experienced was, like I said, well beyond the material science and capabilities that we had at the time, that we have currently, or that we're going to have in the next 10 to 20 years. Number 3. Chicago Airport Sighting. On November 7, 2006, something bizarre happened at the O'Hare International Airport in Chicago. Right before takeoff, a United Airlines employee spotted a dark gray metallic aircraft hovering over the airport gates. He raised an alarm, and soon many other staff began pointing to the mysterious flying objects in the sky. However, shockingly, air traffic control never picked up this object on radar. After about 5 minutes, the puzzling object disappeared, leaving its spectators completely stupefied. What do you think this dark gray aircraft was? Tell us your thoughts in the comments section. Number 2. Go fast. It was a dazzling moment when the U.S. Navy released some previously classified documents to the public. Amongst these was a mind-blowing video of a live recorded UFO from a Navy pilot. The video shows a black object with incomprehensible dimensions and shapes moving at terrific speed, with the pilot trying to keep up. The UFO was spotted near the Florida coast, and according to the pilots, its movement and flight patterns were very abnormal. The object was also moving at high speed against very strong winds, something that shouldn't be possible. Overall, the video left many in shock, as it proves there are a lot of scary UFOs out there. Number 1. Pilots disappear. Perhaps the scariest story of pilot UFO encounters is that of the November 23, 1953 incident in which 2 pilots disappeared while chasing after a reported UFO. The U.S. Air Defense Command had noticed something off in the radar and sent an F-89C Scorpion jet with 2 officers inside, 1 pilot and 1 lieutenant. At first, the crew reported having difficulty tracking the object, as it kept changing course at lightning-fast speeds. But after 30 minutes of pursuit, the unexpected happened. Suddenly, air controllers at the base saw the jet plane and the UFO collide on the radar, and then the F-89C jet disappeared from the radar. Before the ground team could dispatch another crew to go investigate, the UFO also disappeared from the radar. Till today, no one knows what became of these men. Could it be an alien abduction? That's all for this video. Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this video. Bye for now.